If you recently broke up and you have an anxious attachment style, you must be feeling right now loss in confidence. You might be feeling that your self-esteem has been shattered. And actually, to some extent, regardless of your attachment style, that's how we feel after a breakup. And it's something that will help you feel better, that will help you overcome these challenges and this pain, is self-compassion. In this video, I'm going to share with you 2 studies explaining how it works and why it could impact your life in a positive way. And yeah, jingle.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
First of all, the 3 major signs of attachment issue for someone who has an anxious attachment style. The first one is the idea of seeking validation. We always, and it's very linked to confidence, it's the idea that you need someone to validate any of your action because you are not sure whether you're making the right decision. Second one is not feeling good enough. It's the idea that you're not complete. It's the idea that you're not perfect. And therefore, also, again, trying to get that validation, trying to get that completeness. Again, after a breakup, these 2 things are even more present in your life because the validation, you can't get that validation anymore. You think, you default your perception as I'm not good enough. That person left me because I am not good enough. And if you have a secure attachment style, if you have an avoidant attachment style, your perception of the breakup is different. And obviously, the last one is struggling to trust. And again, this is a self-fulfilling prophecy after a breakup. When you start relationship thinking that person will abandon me, will leave me, will hurt me, this is what's happening right now after this breakup. So these 3 things are the major signs of someone who has an anxious attachment style, and this is why self-compassion could help you address those signs. I took 2 studies, and I will put the link if you're interested in reading those studies. The first one is from Brothwy-Brawler, and the other one is for Spara and Haizan. It's basically, the first one is saying that self-compassion could help with body image and attachment anxiety, because also very often, because we seek validation, because we're not confident, there's also an element of body image, of I'm not good enough, I'm ugly, I'm fat. And so also with this time and age where there's a lot of things on social media where we compare ourselves, when we feel that person is happier than me, that person is dating this person, and so on and so forth, it's very easy to blame ourselves, to get our self-esteem to be extremely low. The second one is really about the link between attachment style and the feeling of self-worth, this feeling of self-acceptance. And obviously when you have an anxious attachment style, again, we default ourselves as I'm not good enough and the person I date is better than me. Therefore, I'm lucky to be with that person. And therefore, when they leave me, it's because I was not good enough in the first place. Let me tell you before I move on to the next slide, it is way more complex than that and way more simple than that. It's way more complex than that because people make decisions based on things that they are not aware necessarily, that they fear. So if you dated someone who is avoidant, the reason they took the decision is not because of you, it's because of their fear of commitment, for example. And it's simple because, yes, it's not about you, it's about the dynamic of the relationship. People break up usually, or the ones watching my videos at least, you know well enough that you were in love and that your partner was in love with you. The question is not about you and their feelings, the question is about the dynamic of the relationship. People leave relationships, they don't leave people. So, in other words, more compassion towards yourself will reduce the sign of anxiety. This is exactly what you want right now in your life. So what is self-compassion? Self-compassion is about treating yourself with kindness. And very often when people have an anxious attachment style, they're extremely caring, they're extremely nice towards others, and they forget about themselves. They don't allow themselves to enjoy and to treat themselves, to have free time, to have some sort of pleasure. The way they drive pleasure is with someone. My mission on earth is to make my partner happy, is to make my parents happy. It's because that's how it was when you were younger. My role in the family was to please my parents, was to make sure that everybody was happy. And when you have this construct, when you're adult, it's very hard to take care of yourself. And this is why it creates an imbalance, this anxiety. People who have a secure avoidant attachment style, it's not that they are selfish, it's just that they know how to take care of themselves. Second element, and this is the thing we discuss at the end, very interesting concept. Watch till the end because it's very interesting. It's the imperfection. It's accepting that you're not perfect. When you start, again, relationship, life, telling yourself, I'm not perfect, and I will never be perfect, and I'm not good enough, and my curse in life is that I'm not good enough, and I will fight all my life to meet a certain standard, you will be exhausted, right? Because nobody is perfect, right? You're not perfect. I'm not perfect, unless you listen to my mom. Your ex is not perfect. Okay, so it's very important to accept your imperfections. There are things you can change, there are things you can't, but in any case, you are imperfect. And also understand that there are ups and downs. Very often people who have an anxious attachment style, people who tend to be anxious, they will focus their attention on the downs. And what happens usually with people who are anxious is that they will perceive that pain, these times of being, blue, as something that will be permanent. Whereas we always have ups and downs. We always have days where we don't want to go to work. We always have days where, we just don't want to get going, want to stay in bed. Okay? The question is not about having those days. It's the question of realizing that yes, there are ups and downs. There are challenges. You might lose your job, you might lose the relationship, but that's part of life, right? And it's by changing your perspective on those things that will help you overcome those type of situations. So what you have to do is to rewire your brain to become healthier. So it's really breaking away from those patterns of self-blame. I should have, I could have. Again, we're starting with this, I should have known, I'm stupid, I'm fat, I'm not good enough. Again, it's really, that's what I do with my clients, is really taking that step back, really looking the story, your story, from another angle without removing the judgments. Sometimes people who have an anxious attachment style, they see their life with the lens of blame, judgment, the same way, in a way, they perceive their parents treating them. So very often they feel like, oh yeah, my parents were judgmental, they were tough on me. And therefore, they spend all their energy as a kid to try to make their parent proud. Okay? So it's about removing this filter. And very often, if you explain your situation, your life, I'm pretty sure that someone who has an unbiased view on your situation will spot a lot of blind spots, a lot of things that you disregard. Right? Because you only focus on the negative aspect, because that's your hardwired way of looking at things. If I want to improve, I need to fix the broken part. I need to overcome the negative aspect of my life. Am I bad in math? I'm going to focus my energy at trying to be better at math. But when you do that, you forget that perhaps in writing, in geography, in history, you're extremely good. And the thing is, in adulthood, in all aspects in our life, there are areas in our life where we're not that good. The idea is not to say, I'm not good and I'm not going to work on this. The idea is to say, I'm not good in this area in my life, but there are other things. I have assets, I have skills, I have talents. And very often we disregard those things. Also, an element about emotion. When you are a bit anxious, you feel that, yes, I'm over-emotional. It's not about being over-emotional, it's about your ability to process your emotion. Avoidant people, like myself, will tend to dismiss those emotions, which is not the healthy way of dealing with emotions, by the way. By dismissing things, you bottle up things and that could explode. You are not able to really be in tune with what you want and also connect emotionally with someone. So it's not necessarily the right approach. The other end of the spectrum is people who are anxious, where emotions are taking the lead, are driving the behavior. Remember that an emotion is a signal. In a way, an emotion is a signal in your brain telling you this is happening. This emotion is linked to your belief system and that will drive your decisions. So it's very important to learn about how to process those emotions. It's something you do in therapy, it's something you can learn doing CBT, but it's not about avoiding, it's not about blaming the emotion, it's about processing them and being more in control. Okay, it's very important. So what happens when you lack self-compassion? And I should perhaps start this video on this. When you lack self-compassion, the immediate impact is you struggle to form healthy relationships because you are always trying to get something from your partner because you can't do it yourself. You have difficulty with emotional regulation. The person you spend your time with, where you're in love with, will be the first source of triggers. They will annoy you. They will make you feel a certain way because you have feelings for that person. And this is why the attachment theory is like explaining that the primary attachment figure that you had as a kid will be the same with your partner. It's not, of course, when you're avoidant with other people, but it's not the same as when you are avoidant with your partner. Another understanding is also the self-fulfilling prophecy, that you are not worthy of love because you don't have this self-compassion. You don't accept yourself for who you are. Then again, you're positioning yourself at a lower value. And by doing that, you are sometimes creating without realizing the condition for your partner to break up with you and to leave you. So what to do? And so there's a whole range of activities, and when I have clients, I list them, and actually if you want to have a look, I put the document together to sort of figure out what to do when you are struggling to deal with a breakup emotionally. There's no right or wrong approach, techniques, or tools. It really depends on you. For instance, journaling is a very efficient tool. I don't like to journal, but it's a very efficient tool. Physical activities, sleeping, resting, mindfulness, or a massage, all of these activities basically are helping you with the parasympathetic system. It's basically the system that would regulate your nervous system and that will help you regulate your emotions. So it's very much a mechanical way for you to deal with those emotions and regulate yourself. Again, it's really about testing things out, seeing what works with you, and perhaps you've never really treated yourself. So by doing that just once, you'll see a massive change. And by doing that, you mechanically, physiologically will change that response with yourself. So that's really about the self-love, the practice of really treating yourself. Right now, treat yourself with a massage, treat yourself with anything that you're the most important person in your life. So treat that person with respect, treat that person the way she or he deserves it. And this is a very important image. I don't know if you know this concept. It's a Japanese concept. I don't remember the name, but I'll see the name in the next slide. It's basically the idea of repairing a broken vase, but not only repairing them. It's about finding beauty in those wounds, in those imperfections. Understand that the way we construct our personality, also our strength and our resilience, is about how we overcome challenges. So failing in a way or having to overcome challenges is what will make us stronger. And right now, of course, the pain is immense, the hurt, the blame, the negativity, perhaps depression, is a phase that you have to go through. But understand that when you overcome this, because you will overcome this, there's no question about that. When you are on the other side, on that bridge or that journey or the next chapter in your life, you'll understand that those wounds will bring thickness to your life, to your personality. Kintsugi, that's the word. It's the idea of embracing our wounds, because those wounds make us human. Now with ChatGPT, with AI, what's our place? What's our value? How we define ourselves in this world of tech and artificial intelligence? Understand that artists, entrepreneurs, successful people, they constructed themselves because of their wounds. Their wounds fueled their purpose. Look at any biography of important people, again, politicians, athletes, you name it. You will find they had to overcome things. They had wounds. I'm not saying that if you have kids, you need to make them, you need to make their life hell, but it's about understanding that what you're going through will help you. If you have any other question, don't hesitate to email me or comment underneath the video. I need to take a coffee. I'll see you next time. Bye bye.